Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Paranormal Diner. And I must say that I am not really too happy with the way Riverside FM is operating right now. Um, yeah, so just a little frustrated with Riverside, but that's okay. So, but we got a great show. um, it's gonna be if you're into the paranormal, then let's do it. Let's talk about the paranormal. When I get started on some of this stuff, if things don't go quite right, I get a little frustrated and a little flustered. So you got to kind of bear with me a minute. But got Brian Bohall on the show tonight. He's got a lot to talk about his investigations and what he's promoting. And so let's get him on here and get going. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? And I understand your frustrations. I've used this software. It
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it's almost as bad as dealing with their customer service.
right,
Okay.
right,
So,
right, right.
yeah.
And I switched just because it's a little bit cheaper, and I
Right.
usually use Restream, but I have a little bit more options with that. But I just you know what, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I mean that's the best way to sum it up. But not to I mean this has been a great program for me for the most part. But there's just certain times where things just don't work. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's kind of irritating. But I digress. Anyways, um, welcome, Brian. I appreciate you coming on the show. And
Oh, I appreciate you having me here, man. I really do.
yeah, so let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you're working on that you are trying to promote. And tell a little bit about what you do or who you are and what you do. And so, in case people don't know who you are.
Yeah. Um I am a paranormal investigator. I have a team called the Paramigos. It has 3 members, and we live in California, so the area that we cover is haunted locations in the Southwest,
Okay.
California, Nevada, Arizona, and my team started about 10 years ago, and it started with me and my best friend, and we just started out basically with a regular digital recorder and a K2 meter. You know what I mean? You got to
Mm-hmm.
start somewhere, right?
Right. Right.
And we went to we've been to a lot of locations around here. The group has changed since because my best friend passed away. Um, but um, paranormal investigating's, you know, one of the many things I do. I'm also a videographer. Okay.
Okay.
And one of the things that we can get into later that I'm promoting is not necessarily a paranormal video. I sometimes paranormal videos aren't all that palatable to a wide variety audience, you know. So my
Mm-hmm.
idea is to do something a little bit more palatable to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we can get into that a little bit more. But yeah, so investigating for 10 years, been to countless locations, worked with a bunch of different groups. One other thing that I do as well is once a month, I work with a group called Caliscaris, and
Mm-hmm.
they are a local PBS affiliate, and they host a horror show annually. And to pay for that event, they host paranormal investigations in places that nobody can get into to raise money to do that. And that's another thing I'm involved in as well.
Awesome. So you got your hands in a few things.
You could say that.
So, so now have you? I'm sure you're going to say yes, but have you've been to the Waverly House?
I have never investigated there. I have done a historical tour there.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I did one. I did a tour there,
Mhm.
so a few years ago. My daughter lives in San Diego,
Oh, right on.
so and she's a in the Navy. So with her and her husband, um,
Solid.
and my grandbaby. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so her husband took me there because he knew that I'm into all that, and I really wanted to go there, and I've been on that same street and eaten some of the best Mexican food ever in my entire life.
Hmm.
And I have yet to find some place that will ever compare to that.
Uh-huh.
So, but yeah, San Diego to me is a really great place. I love it, So
It's a
I've been
beautiful
to
city.
California a couple times. Yeah, so I would have to say out of the cities that I've been to in California, I say San Diego has to be one of the cleanest, you
Mm,
know.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, I love their airport. Um, but anyways, so yeah, I was just kind of curious if you've been there, but yeah. So you talk about and I love Paramigos. That's a great name for a paranormal team. I'm serious. I mean that is just that's original. And so yeah, but let me ask you: do you travel besides? I mean, anywhere else like in the Midwest or even out east?
I used to travel all over the world for my
Okay,
profession, and I tell you, brother, I don't want to get on a plane, man.
really,
It's just such a pain in the ass compared to what it used to be.
right?
I'm gonna drive. So and to be honest with you, man, I'm kind of a desert rat, and so
Okay,
I I I don't really like snakes and bugs and all that. But
yeah,
if I did, I'd have to take a good solid month off and go to some of these locations that I have friends all over
hmm,
and a lot on the East Coast. And
right. I do
I would
too.
love
Yeah,
to go to, and I will eventually. It's just not in the cards right now, man. I'm too busy. So
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, my goal is to Wisconsin, so I'm kind of right in the middle. But I have this love and craving to go to Gettysburg.
Oh,
I have,
absolutely.
yeah, I have ancestral ties to Gettysburg, and um,
How
yeah,
so?
so I actually have a third or second great uncle that was a captain in the Confederacy.
Oh, wow, wow.
His last name was O'Dooley. So
Ah.
yeah, so and I think I have relatives on the other side as well. I haven't. I think I came across something a while ago about that, but at that time I was too busy to really investigate it. But kind of just ran across it. But yeah, I mean, I just a lot of my family back way back in the day. I mean, like even before the Civil War, around the time of the Revolutionary War, my family had owned about a third of Virginia.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
so seriously, I mean, they had so much land it was unreal. But yeah, so I have that, where I would like to do that. But I was you said you're a desert rat, so
Yeah, oh
I
yeah.
could say that you've been to Tombstone.
I have not been to Tombstone.
Oh
I'll,
my
I'll be
gosh,
honest. I'll be honest with you. What we don't really go to these high profile places. I
yeah,
feel kind of like those places are like full of tulpas. Do you know what a tulpa is? It's
vaguely.
basically all right. So all right, so let's talk about Waverly Hills real quick, right?
Okay,
That's like one of the places everybody talks about.
right,
So all kinds of energy is brought there through the anticipation of going to that location, of all the TV shows and people that have been there. All right. And
right.
it can create energy,
Oh
right?
yeah,
That
yeah,
can be a
yeah.
spirit that can be deceptive. And
Right.
so, what we try and find are places that have never been tapped before,
Hmm.
places that, you know, eh, that we want to go to places that nobody's been to before,
You want to go to
period.
places that haven't been infested.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
I get you. I get you. I get
Yeah.
you.
Not to say that I wouldn't want to go to those places just to
Right. Right.
look around and maybe, try a couple
Mhm.
burst sessions. But I mean, honestly, man, I mean, one place that you'd probably know out here that I've investigated in is the Goldfield Hotel. I've actually been inside of there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I decided that I'm kind of done with these places as far as taking my team there. Um,
Right.
it was with Nick Groff. It was a thing that he did. He put the thing on. I mean, how the hell do you get in there without somebody from TV, right? It's
Right.
impossible. So he put the thing on. I don't remember what I paid for it, but there were like 320 people there,
Oh
right?
my God.
You're not gonna capture any evidence with 320 people just trouncing around. Okay. I wish I could get there the next day after all the people have been there. Okay, because
Right.
I bet they fed on all that energy and that would be amazing. But
Right.
um, so
But that's
like I said, I'm not.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It was right after COVID, so that's when everybody had a little extra money, and
Right.
just everybody was wanting to get out. So, but I can say I've
Wow.
been there, and I thought it was still an amazing experience, but that's not ghost hunting to me,
Right.
And
Right.
like I said, I'm not knocking these locations, but
Right.
if you've been doing this for a long time, you kind of going to places like that don't excite me. Now, Gettysburg is a different story
It's a
because it's
different story
so
because
massive and
yeah.
spread out.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Now
So,
I went to Tombstone a couple years ago,
uh-huh.
and I went there. I went there by myself. I have my best friend's mom that lives down the road from me. His mom lives in Arizona, and so I was able to actually, I had moments to or time to go visit her, and
Mhm.
then I had I rented a car and I drove all the way down from Tucson to uh, Tombstone, and
Mhm.
I tell you what, driving in Arizona, yeah, no thanks. I mean, number one, number one, driving in Arizona, especially going down south, like towards the border,
Yeah.
the highway roads are so narrow. I mean, it's crazy. People are passing you at a million miles an hour within inches of each other, and that
Mhm.
that was a little stressful. But I get to Tombstone, and I'm right off the end of Allen Street, right at the end,
Mhm.
on the south side, and it was cool. I had a cabin and the whole 9 yards, and you talked about like bugs, snakes, and whatnot. I was looking under my bed in my cabin for scorpions, snakes, whatever. Because I was just like, so I can relate to that. But no, Gettysburg, not Gettysburg. I mean Tombstone. I had actually contacted a couple people that
Mhm.
were. And this is where it's just going to kind of correlate with what you were talking about, the Goldfield.
Uh-huh.
The okay, so I I make some emails and or send some emails and make some contacts and talk to the people that do the welcoming and all that stuff. I don't even
Yeah.
remember what that's called, but you know
The
what I mean.
greeters.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the green, yeah, basically, and historian type people, and I get there and I have my tags because I'm trying to do parts of my documentary that I've been working on for a long
Mhm.
time. I have
Mhm.
my I guess you would say my press tags of what my shows and whatnot and
Mhm.
my camera to let people know that hey, I'm filming or just taking random without having a permit to do so, but just to film the city, the town, and whatnot. And when I talk to these people in this building, and they said that they wanted to be interviewed, and they said that they wanted to be on TV or be on camera to talk about things and this and that. But when I got there and it was just
Uh-huh.
me,
Yeah.
they didn't want nothing to do with it because I didn't have a large camera crew in tow. I mean,
Really?
I'm like, so I sent you an email and I said you wanted to have me interview you. Well, that's not really my thing, but my husband might, and her husband's sitting there. He's like, "Yeah, no, I don't want to be on camera." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, thanks." And they just ignored me, and I walked out. And I'm like, I was like, really? Seriously? So I kind of got that a little bit. I went down to the Birdcage Theater.
Yeah.
It was late in the afternoon. And this lady was like, I was just talking to her because I had a camera, and she was like, am I pressed in my tags and, around my neck? And she was like, are you filming? And I was like, yeah, I'm working on a documentary, this and that. And she was like, oh, were you thinking about investigating the birdcage? And I said, well, that would be beneficial, but
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really, thought about it too much. And she's like, oh, and then she whips out this piece of paper that's got all these TV shows that were there.
Yeah.
Look who's here. This person, that person. I'm like, oh, that's great. And I said, so I'm assuming it costs a little money to investigate. Oh, it's
Right.
$1,000 a person. And I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. And I said, I came back later without my gear, and I just had my phone, and I paid to do a self tour because they were getting ready to close soon, and I just kind of wanted to go in there. So I was able to do a self tour by myself. And the only thing was, I could have done a pretty much of a mini investigation, but because of the fact that they have that music blaring in there, and you can't hear anything, you know what I mean? It's like it makes it sound like it's like an old, yeah. So there was no way. I mean, I took a lot of pictures. I had some really good pictures and stuff, and I had different connections with some of the spirits that were there, but it was nothing like. It was cool. It was an experience,
Right.
but it was just like, it was kind of like, because I didn't have a camera crew in tow,
Mm-hmm.
they were like, I wasn't worth their time. And I was like, and then I realized that a lot of these places have been commercialized so bad. It's all about the money and making the money.
I get it because they have to maintain these places,
right? And I get that too.
It's just not the basketball game I want to play, man.
Right.
I want to get out there. I want to get dirty.
Right.
I want the place as dirty and as old as it possibly can be. I don't care if there's bird shit everywhere or
You want it to be original. I want it genuine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of places out there.
Right. And it's funny because if they would have been like, hey, yeah, we do want to talk to you, or hey, yeah, we would love to, have us interviewed and we could tell you stories. I would have put together a thing for my YouTube channel and put out there and say, hey, go check this out, so that I could kind of promote them a little bit. But since they really didn't want nothing to do with me, and they were like, and the one guy was like, hey, you can't bring a camera in here. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah. So I was kind of disappointed. I had some instances and some things happen there, which was pretty cool. But I didn't even want to go visit the Boot Hill Cemetery. I've really been looking forward to doing that, to go visit. I did a walkthrough of it during the day, and I got a bunch of pictures, but I wasn't really getting anything, spiritually. I wasn't. It was just like a graveyard. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Was it?
Are you gifted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So I talked to the lady that rented me the cabin at the end of Allen Street, and she said, you need to do that at night. She says, just go over by the fence and just take pictures, and you'll get a bunch of different stuff. I'm like, well, yeah. But even then, I was so kind of unimpressed at that time. I really didn't feel like I had more fun at the Walmart at Sierra Vista.
I'm serious. Watching?
I went down. I had to go. I had to get something, and I went down to, and Sierra Vista is great. It's a beautiful little area. It's what the mountains are, and it's right. I think it's south, and it's a great drive there. It's 20 minutes, and I went at that Walmart I spent too much money in Walmart, but but no, it was really pretty cool. And the one other thing that I liked the weather was great. It was nice to sit out, and I had wild animals coming up to the deck, and that was really cool. But I just really, I don't know. I've been to Waverly Hills. Don't get me started
Yeah.
on that place. Oh my god.
Was it a good
Seriously.
experience or a bad experience?
I drove 6 hours to go spend the night or spend part of the day in supposed haunted Airbnb, which was a farmhouse.
Okay.
And it was. I mean, there was an old lady there. I know that there was. Like I could see her standing in the window when I
Okay.
pulled up. But it wasn't nothing. She was more like just kind of property, like the lady that runs the property. She was very welcoming. Don't get me wrong, but
Hmm.
and it was cool. The team that I'm connected with, they were all excited because it was a surprise, and they were all excited to see me and this and that. But I we go to Waverly Hills, and I could just feel the collective energy of so many people had been there,
Hmm.
you know, and it was kind of like they were there and they left something. They were there and they left something. You know what I mean? It was kind of like the kinetic energy was off the charts. So by
Yeah.
the time I was done walking around there, my whole body just screamed in pain. I mean, I
Oh, I
was
bet.
physically, my emotions. I felt a lot of disparity, a lot of depression, a lot of disappointment.
Hmm.
A lot of like failure. Like people that were that gave up hope. I felt a lot of that disparage. Those feelings. But it was an experience. Don't get me wrong, but I would have to, if it was me, I would have walked through there by myself with nobody in the building. You know what I mean? I would have been able to connect a little bit more. You know what I mean? But there were so many people that were when you do the tour. I mean, you've been there, the tour, right? Have you
Me?
been to Waverly?
No, I've never been there. No.
Okay. So it's just like it's okay. So picture the Goldfield,
Uh-huh.
and you've got all these people, and you're going through this and this, and all of that energy. It was very frustrating. I mean, it was unsettling to the point where I didn't want to be there. And I'll be honest. I didn't really towards the end, I didn't want to really talk to anybody. I just wanted to go home. I just wanted to be done because I
Hmm.
just felt it's just there were so many different energies crisscrossing that it was hard for me to get beat on anything, you know.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, so there's places out there like that, and like you talked about the Goldfield, which 300 some people. That's crazy, man. That's just nuts.
Yeah, man. I don't
Why
want to
would
be
you
in her.
even do that?
It got me in. You know, I could say I've been there. Because that's I'm telling you, it don't let they want money in order to get in there. That's just the name of the game. You know. So
And that's
I could
sad.
say I did it.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you on the whole. Let's find a place where it isn't like the Goldfield or like Waverly or like what's that other place?
Oh
Um,
gosh, there's so many. I mean, when
Penn State.
I oh okay, one thing you will not see me doing is a prison or an asylum like that. No, no way. I'm
Right.
scared to death of prisons, man. I I don't I'm a
Really?
good boy. I don't get in trouble, man. I just yeah, I'm petrified of prisons. Yeah. So,
You see,
but
and that
Nick,
is prisons. And to me, prisons and asylums
uh,
are similar, especially if you have an asylum that houses criminals.
right,
You know what I mean? Like Trans Allegheny.
right,
There was
right.
that one, and I mean, I was like, a lot of these people don't realize that a lot of the kinetic energy that people produce, negativity, negative or even positive or whatever, but they're they're creating that energy that because they want to be scared, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's and it's just I don't know.
I know exactly
To
what you're
me,
saying, man. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, to me, I want to know the history. I want to do the research. I want to be able to see if I can't help with somebody who has passed, who's stuck or in a loop or something like that. I don't necessarily. Somebody asked me the other day, "Don't you get scared like that? Don't you? When you go?" I'm like, to be honest, with the things that had happened to me when I was younger in my 20s, um, dealing with, I'll say, the darkness.
Uh-huh.
Not really. You know, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I have been in a building that by myself, and it's been. I know that I got to go into some dark hallway. Yeah, that's a little unsettling. Is it going to make me want to run out and scream and yell and
I've never
I
done
mean,
that.
no. Maybe when I
But
maybe when I was 9,
yeah.
you know, but yeah, so there's a lot of great places to go visit that aren't on the map, so to speak. You know, those are the
That's
ones
one of
like in
the
Gettysburg that I want to find.
yeah. No, that's a definite. I mean, that is definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah,
And it's just getting out there. I've been there. I've been to Gettysburg before. It was in when I was in the service, and I was just there with some
right,
friends. I wasn't in the paranormal at all back then. And
right,
I know how fast that place is, and
right,
that intrigues me greatly because it's outdoors, and
right,
it's just so many people died there. You know,
right,
it's
right.
it's fascinating, and the evidence that I've seen come from there
Oh yeah,
is pretty fascinating as well. If I ever
yeah.
capture an apparition, I can pretty much just hang up my cameras and go, all right, I'm done. On to
All
the
right, been there,
next.
done that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
I mean, I've seen a couple apparitions in my lifetime. Um,
mhm. Now, was it
when
with
I
your
was
gift or
16,
with your own two eyes?
on my own two eyes.
Okay, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
I was 16.
Uh-huh.
I was living in a haunted house, and the lady of the house that lived there, um, she was wearing period clothing, and she was standing at the foot of my bed, and she was looking at me,
Wow.
and I was, yeah. It's funny. I wasn't really scared because of my eyes had to adjust because I had to open my eyes, and I was more mad that she woke me up. Yeah,
I love it, dude. I
because
love it.
I said I looked at her and I said, "What?" And she looked at me. She gave me that look like she was trying to figure out if she could trust me or whatever. Well, I found
Mhm.
up the backstory eventually about that and who she was, and her husband wasn't very nice and whatnot. But that house right now it's 10-15 minutes from my house, in town, and it's actually a sushi place.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was yeah. When I lived there in high school, um, my mom told the owner, said, if you painted this place, you'd probably sell it. And my mom always said she regretted saying that because it sold within a month later
Mm.
after they painted it. Because it was kind of run down. It was part of a mansion. It was a big cornered lot mansion, had stables in the back, and it had a servant's quarters next to it, had the, whole 9 yards.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was the first time I saw the full body apparition in there. I got scratched in there.
Oh
I
wow.
know I was 16. I was into paranormal. I thought it was cool and this and that. But back then and back in the 80s, there weren't really any paranormal teams. You know what I mean,
Hmm.
so to speak. It wasn't on TV and it wasn't. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
oh
think the
yeah,
only thing was in search of that was putting that out, or like unsolved mysteries was the only thing that I remember during
Yeah.
that era that was talking about the
Or I
paranormal.
don't know if you ever remember that. That's Incredible.
I remember it, but I don't. I remember the name. I don't remember the show though.
Okay. So even with that show, it had uh, s- um, Sylvia Brown. She was a
Hmm.
medium back then.
Hmm.
Okay, she was on that show, and it was That's Incredible. And the story they were doing was a ghost in a Toys R Us,
Hmm.
and I remember that. And she's saying this person's kid, da 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 da, and they got pictures of it. And you can probably look it up, and there's a picture of a little kid standing at the end of this, you know, one of the aisles in this store and it used to have, I think, a house there or something.
Hmm.
And so that's how I knew who Sylvia was, and that's how I knew what That's Incredible was. And I just thought that was fascinating. It freaked me out, but
Hmm.
you know what I mean. I was 7, 8 years old, whatever, and that was freaky, But
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
just like just like movies like Poltergeist,
absolutely.
1980, that scared the
Yeah.
living shit out of me. I mean, I
Oh
had
yeah.
nightmares for months after that.
Yeah, dude,
Oh
I just
yeah, I
watched
mean, I
it like
slept.
this past October, and I was like, "This isn't the movie that I saw when I was a kid. This movie isn't scary." You know what I
No,
mean?
right.
We're so
But I mean,
desensitized now. You know.
right, and a lot of it, I think, and a lot of people don't realize this too. But that scene with the whole with the mother in the pool with all those skeletons,
Yeah, yeah, I know.
those were real,
I know,
and
dude.
people
That
didn't
kind of
realize. They're
stuff
like,
out
no way,
here.
they were. Yeah.
That kind of
Oh yeah.
stuff out here is so prevalent. It's not even funny. We have a place that we went to as a house. The lady contacted us and wanted us to come out and investigate what was going on. She
Right.
told me I went out, and what I did was I went out and just interviewed her, okay? And I had a bunch
Right.
of questions to see if it was even worth bringing my team out there, right? And she sat and told me that she her family tilled the land and flattened it, and when they did that, they uncovered bones and pottery,
No.
etc.
Oh.
And then they built a farm. Their entire family, they built 2 farms, and lo and behold, when she builds her house, okay, and she got her plot of land to farm, the first night she was there when the house was built, her shutter doors in her upstairs bedroom popped open, and an entity came inside the house. Okay. And
Oh, yeah.
she froze and then blacked out. Her husband started getting angry and depressed and having all kinds of emotional things. And slowly but surely, over about 5 years, he died. She marries
Wow.
another guy. Same thing happens. As soon as he moves into the house, starts to get angry, gets sick, gets cancer, dies. When I went there, she was on her third husband. Guess what?
Holy
He's laying in
shit.
bed with cancer. And they had all kinds of things that they saw. Like they said they see a little boy peeking in the window. They said they saw a spirit it's always on the outside of the house that looked like the Joker. They would look out in the fields and they could see dark, like shadow figures, huge shadow figures. And what we went, and I was like, man, I don't know, man. This sounds like we need to get like a Navajo like medicine man out here instead of
Right.
what I mean,
Right.
instead of us. I mean, all I
Right.
could do really
Yeah.
for you is detect what's going on. But in the house there was a little boy and a little girl and an old man, and the old man was protecting them from what was outside. And
Right.
to back up a little bit, we brought my team out because I was like, this lady is not BSing me. One other thing, after I did my interview, I took an EMF meter and I went through the entire house, and the EMF meter was pegged all the way, everywhere in the house. And so I went to like
Wow.
her router Okay, and I had her turn it off. I shut off all the electricity in the house. It just went to the box. Dude, it was still pegging, right?
Wow.
So I set up my team, and we have a medium that'll work with our team for things like this, right?
Right.
And we blindfolded
Right.
her. She had no idea where she's going. Bring her out there, and immediately she was
I
like,
would
"There's a
if I
nag."
was that medium, I would have beat your ass.
Well, she likes this,
Seriously.
you know.
Oh,
But
oh my
she's like,
gosh, yeah,
I
because for what
see.
you're describing, I don't even know if
Yeah,
I would go there.
yeah. I was a little nervous, dude. You know, I think it
Yeah.
was a little bit bigger than what we were. But she immediately
Right.
she could sense a spirit in the where the farm is,
Right.
right? And
Right.
she said it's like nothing I've ever seen. It's ancient, you know. And I'm like,
Right.
great, dude.
And that's kind of what the way you're describing it. I'm kind of like my eyes are starting to water thinking about it, going, "Holy shit, what the hell did they get themselves into?" You know?
Well, you know, it was like it's one of those opportunities. Like you don't get something like this very often. So I was like, well, we're gonna give it, you know. And I told her, I was like, I think what you need is you need to get a shaman or someone like that and trying to appease the spirit
Mhm.
somehow because you know it's killing your loved ones, you know, slowly. So it's pissed. And so
Right.
anyway, we got
Right.
some cool evidence.
Right.
It was a unique. The one thing that stood out about that investigation is we decided to go out in the woods and investigate. And and it's an orchard. It's an almond orchard. That's the farming that's done in that
Right.
area. And we're walking
Mhm.
through, and we can see shadow figures running in between the trees, and it's dark as hell. They're darker
Right.
than
Right.
dark, and they're just.
Right.
It was fascinating, man. It was so fascinating. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah. I would have to say, yeah, no thanks. Because
Yeah,
that,
the
because
Indian
like you said,
spirits are something
oh,
you
they
don't want to
don't,
mess with,
yeah,
man.
yeah, especially when they're connected with the land. You know what I mean? I just territorial spirits are not to be messed with, especially when
Right,
it comes to land. And buildings come and go. It's one thing,
right.
but when you've got ancient or old lands, or you don't know what was there even before Native Americans, you don't know what was
Good
there. You know
point.
what I mean? That whole energy, you know, I usually say too that when people contact me or they want to know this or that about their home or whatever. And I'm like, "Yeah, look at your land. Look at what your
Mhm.
land is on. Go back and see how old that land is. See what was there before, what was around it. You know what I mean? Was there water near it? Was there water underneath it? Was there, I mean, so I start from like the ground up, you know,
Right.
especially when I have to look in, I have to do like a psychic sweep. Yeah, I have to do from the ground up. But that's the only way for me to seriously gauge, you know what I mean? Just because,
What yeah.
you know, so, but yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that there's probably a lot of crazy places in California, especially by the ocean,
I
you
have a
know?
friend. He he works for Ghost Adventures. He's their equipment tech. His name's Jeff Conkle, right? And every
Okay.
once in a
Yeah.
while, he's actually made some equipment for me. Like he made this. It's an SLS with lidar,
Right.
right? He made that
Okay.
for me. Really cool guy. Really nice guy. Every
Right.
once in a while, he'll call me up and he's like, "Hey, man, I got to go check this out, but I don't want to go by myself." And so I'll go investigate with him, right? And so he takes me to this house, and it's in a really nice subdivision in Clovis, which is about a half hour away from where I live, and it's got like a lake on it, you know, so it's pretty
Hmm.
fancy. And we go there. I don't know anything about this place at all. I brought, you know, basically I just basic gear like EMF detector, a couple cameras, you know, just
Right.
basic stuff. And the second they open the door, dude, I can feel it. There's something there, man. And I'm not gifted, but I can sense when something just ain't right, just doing this for as long as I have. I go in there and we talk to the lady that lives there. Her daughter's there with her, and then they got their dog, and they said they see things move. They claim that their electronic devices just go off the fritz. They turn on all by themselves. Just all kinds of stuff. And I look at Jeff and I'm like, dude, what the hell did you get me into, man? Can you sense that? Can you feel that? And he's like, yeah. So we go through the house and, we're not getting any EMF spikes, nothing like that. And we got the lights turned off, and we're in this hallway, right? And there's a garage door, right? And all of a sudden I think we're doing like a burst session or something. And all of a sudden the garage door opens all by itself. And we both kind of turn our head and like, what the fuck? And we were, from there, nothing happened, and obviously we went to investigate that. I mean, there's nothing funky with the door or whatever.
Right.
But we noticed this one room that kind of had just a bunch of stuff in there. I said, and then we go to the lady and we ask her, whose room was this? He says, oh, well, that's Samantha's room. I'm just making up a name. I don't remember what the name was. And she's all, yeah, she doesn't live here anymore. I said, is there a reason? And, oh, well, she was using a Ouija board in the house, and we didn't like that. And she's gotten into all kinds of problems. I said, well, we can kind of figure out probably where the problems are coming in this house, but, anyway. So we keep on doing stuff. To make this long story short, the two women of the house, they're in a bar and they got the door closed, right? And they're just hanging out in there watching TV. And all of a sudden we hear this high pitch noise, like, and we're like, what the fuck? And it's not coming from any particular spot. And what we start looking in different spots in the house, and it's everywhere. It's not just emanating from one thing. And we're trying to figure out what is causing it. And so we go to them. I said, do you hear a ringing? They said, we've been listening to it. We've heard that ring ever since we closed this door. I said, well, we just started hearing it about 5 minutes ago. That's strange. And, we asked them, like, they had an Alexa device, we were trying to test out and see if that's what was causing it. And I go to into this bathroom where one of the Alexas is, and I had some headphones. Okay. And I was holding them in my hand because I'll walk around with like a Tascam, right, recorder, and I'm listening to see if I catch any disembodied voices, etc. And I'm holding those headphones in my hand, and all of a sudden the ringing stops and it emanates through the speakers on my headphones. And then it went away.
Oh,
wow. And I'm like, what the hell was that?
Indirect
and we don't
frequency transfer.
Yeah. And like, we don't know if someone was screwing with us because we never met the husband. We didn't know if he maybe knew how to do stuff like that. So we never got to the bottom of it. But it was the strangest experience I've ever had, and literally, we caught a bunch of little stuff, but that was the biggest thing that we captured. And it was fascinating,
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's indirect frequency transfer. And it happens not that often, but it can happen where one person can hear it in their ears, and you could be standing next to somebody, and that for some reason that is only heard by that person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird energy frequency fluctuation, and yeah, it's just, and I'm not into that. I'm not smart when it comes to like science and all that stuff. I just know spiritually things, So I have a friend that I used to do my first podcast with, and I would feel just totally stupid next to him. He'd be talking about something. I'm like, I'd be sitting there going, yeah, I like cookies, you know, just because I mean he would say, he would say things that I had no idea what he was talking about. But it
Yeah.
eventually made sense to a certain degree after being with him for a few years, and doing the show with him and understanding what, how he was describing things. I picked up a few things, but no, not nearly. He he is way smarter than I probably could ever dream. But
Well,
that's what
Jay,
made the
we
show
we
work.
all have our gifts, you know. I mean, you
Yeah,
probably can't
right.
do some of the stuff that you do, so we all have our skill
Right,
set,
right.
right? So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I guess I have to look at it that way. But so let's talk a little bit about if you're promoting something that you want to talk about.
yeah, so we've done a lot of investigating in a place called Raymond, California. It's about a half hour from here. It's an old. There's a few buildings that are a couple hundred years old there, but it's kind of had its heyday and it's kind of faded away. And
Hmm.
it's a neat town because it has like a cemetery in the middle of nowhere that we've
Hmm.
gotten tons of EVP and just a lot of interesting stuff. Well, I just kind of enjoy the drive. There's a lot of cool things to see there. And one day I went with my son and we drove out and there's the old general store there. It's got like a bar in it and then it's got like a general store. And so we're parking out in the parking lot and we were going to grab a couple, drinks, Gatorades, whatever. And I'm looking and right by where you park, there's a road, but then the parking lot is kind of elevated from the road, right? So you like drive up a ramp.
Hmm.
And I'm looking to where that area where it's raised, okay, and I see a gravestone. I'm like, why the hell is that gravestone there? I mean, it's basically a road and a parking lot, and the parking lot's
Hmm.
elevated, and there's a freaking gravestone there.
Right.
And so I have a friend. I'm not a historical, I'm not really good at researching things like that. Like I said, we all have our skill set, right? Um,
Right. Right.
I have a friend. I contacted her, and she's a historian, and so she looks it up, and she says, "Well, he's buried. This person is buried in Whittier, California, which is about 300 miles away down south." And I'm like, "Okay, well, his gravestone's right here." I mean,
Right.
so
Right.
we tried to figure out, you know, what we've got to figure it out, dude. Why is this gravestone here? And there
Right.
is a granite quarry in a town called Knowles, which is about 5 minutes away. Um, and the one thing I knew about that granite quarry is it's a white granite quarry, but this headstone was black granite, and that doesn't make
Oh.
any sense. The closest place that would have black granite is down in Sanger, California, which is from there it's about an hour and a half away. So so we came up with hypotheses like, why would this gravestone be here? And I kept on clicking in my
Hmm.
head. Well, there's a granite quarry, so maybe they did. There's a shop or something that did headstones and things like that. And
Hmm.
basically, the video is about kind of a little bit about the history of why I came to Raymond in the first place. It's
Hmm.
about some of the evidence that we captured while we're there to kind of talk about the paranormal a little bit. And then it
Hmm.
transitions into the story of Henry S. Yule, who is the man his name is on the gravestone. Um, I don't want to give everything away. The video
No,
should
no,
be
yeah,
done
no,
tomorrow,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
it's an
yeah.
interesting story.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty
Well, that's
lighthearted.
cool.
And we do actually go down to Whittier, California, and we locate the actual grave. We found it, and the guy's buried next to his wife. Um, and we kind of figure out exactly what happened, but there are some loose ends that just because he was buried in the 50s, there's no one to
Hmm.
interview. The people I was able to talk to, it's kind of hearsay, and none of them wanted to be on camera, just like with the
Yeah.
issue you had in Tombstone, right? So I
Yep.
couldn't do
Yeah.
interviews, so the way I had to film it was more of voiceover and video and pictures at the location, kind of like what you did at the in
Yeah.
Tombstone. That's all you can
Mhm.
do. So
Right.
so
Right.
yeah, that's what this movie's about, and it's just I want to make videos that people enjoy, and sometimes people the paranormal is just not their gig, and or they're scared of it,
Right.
or they're religious and whatever. This
Right.
is just a lighthearted movie with a fun story and a little bit of history in there. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I've been trying to get my campaign going that I want to, do a documentary on
Mhm.
Gettysburg, but I want to start in Gettysburg because it's going to be like a 4-part thing where I start at Gettysburg and then I kind of move to the old West and then I work up into the mob scene in Chicago. And then I kind of graduate. Like I want to find certain people that are connected, that are all connected. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
want to be able to tell their story or remotely close to um, what led to this, what led to that. You know what I mean? And Gettysburg is the place that I really want to start, but I couldn't afford to do it at the
Mhm.
time. So I could afford to go to Tombstone. So I went to Tombstone instead, and that didn't work. That was like a total dead end. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I had good experiences there.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I had dreams of a building um, of Tombstone that I had where I was walking from Big Nose Kate's restaurant down the boardwalk, and I walked past this shop that was original building that was there from 1800s, and I look into it, and then all of a sudden I realized I dreamt this exact moment,
Oh
and then
wow.
I got flashes from all the rest of the dream and how I connected everything, and I was like, and it was almost like a aha moment, and I thought, well, that
Mhm.
was really cool. But
Mhm.
there was something there that was connecting me to a big mansion somewhere else. And I think that that was in
Oh.
Gettysburg. So that's why I think I kind of like jumped the gun. Instead of sticking with my original plan, I could have probably done Gettysburg and then eventually gone to Tombstone and then eventually gone someplace else. And you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
I'm impatient. And so
Yeah.
I kind of rushed the whole aspect. And yeah.
I feel your pain, bro, because like the Paramigo videos, they're just us investigating, right? So it's pretty easy to
Right.
film it. It's pretty easy
Right.
to edit it. And I've always wanted to do something that I was passionate about. I just want to make something I'm proud of. I'm not trying to be like, Spielberg or anything like that. I'm not. I got what I got, and I'm gonna
Right.
use what I got to make something that I hope entertains somebody and tells a story and you know, and I know it's frustrating this process
Right.
being having gone through it. It's not what you have in your head. It's never gonna work out that way,
Right.
and
Right.
it's a
Oh yeah, yeah,
process,
yeah. Oh yeah.
to make it happen, and you just gotta be diligent, and stick to it,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I basically, want to be able to go down there to film something
Mhm.
that isn't talked about.
Yeah.
I want a story that not only has the truth of tragedy, but the truth of hope and
Mhm.
a good ending. You know what I mean? Or something that
Yeah.
transcends and say, it happened. This was terrible, but look at the positive, or you know, the things that happened that came out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want it to all be death and despair and this and that and oh my god, how did you die? Which is we are so tired of that phrase. You know, um, I want to ask the spirit basically, what was your life like? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? What was your
Mhm.
routine? What was the things that made you who you were? Not how did you die and where did you die and um, are you here with me right now? And I'm like, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of all that scripted
Right.
nonsense.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
like there are people here. Let's talk. Keep it real.
And how many
You know what
how
I
many
mean?
times
Keep
are
it
you gonna
real and
watch that?
genuine.
I mean, after a little
Right.
bit, the formula gets old, dude. Right? So you got to come up with something
Oh
new.
yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
when we do
You
our
got to come
videos,
up
there's
with
a
something
lot
totally
of
different.
humor in our videos. Us tripping,
And I think
like
there
because we
should
trip,
be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think there should be. It can't be all like strict script. You know, it's like throw the script out. Just that's why I do live shows because anything can happen.
Right.
That's why I did live shows when I did my first podcast, when I did it in a haunted location. I had activity happen on live feed.
Yeah, it's badass.
You know what I
I
mean?
love that.
So
Yeah,
and that was cool. You know what I mean? I had spirits interact with my guests that
Wow.
were over in Maryland.
Yeah.
Had conversations back and forth, which was cool. You know, but it wasn't nobody was doing it, and somebody said that they think that I was like one of the first people to really kind of do it as long as I did. I did it for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And then I kind of get kicked out of that hotel because they were renovating and they needed the space. And I was like, shit, that sucks.
Damn it.
But, you know, but yeah, so I mean, to do an interview or even to talk to people about, you know, in a haunted doing it in a haunted location, it was great. I had the spirits mess with my equipment for the first couple shows and would turn shit off and mess with stuff that I mean seriously they would mess with me so bad until I sat down in that room and I said, please stop. I said, I'm trying to do something positive here.
Right.
I said, and I'm not trying to, you know, be disrespectful or anything like that. And then eventually it just stopped.
Yeah.
And the next day, the next week when I came in, everything was fine. You know, so yeah, it was cool. It was a great experience, and you know, now I've got 5 other shows, and I produce all of them, and I just, you know, I try to keep up with everything, and but it's you gotta have the genuine reasons and the intention of why you want to do what you want to do in the paranormal field, and it can't be so simple minded that you just want to get the shit scared out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what you're going for, go to a haunted house that you can pay $5 to get in the door and have somebody scare the living shit out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if that's what you're looking for.
I mean, we call ourselves an enthusiast group only because none of us are like professional investigators, right? And that's the only reason.
Right.
And I typically think of an enthusiast as people wanting to go out and get scared, but that's not at all what we do. But we don't take ourselves too seriously either. You know, we don't think we know everything, and there's, you know, it's
oh yeah. Yep.
So.
And I tell people that all the time too. I'm like, you can learn something new on any given day. There isn't anything that you know what I mean. You can't say that I'm an expert at this. I ain't an expert in nothing. I'm a jack of all trades.
Yahoo.
Yeah, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, some of these TV shows, that little show guy says paranormal expert. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Well, who gave you that
really?
Degree?
Yeah, I just don't. You know, people look at it differently, and like you know, there's a lot of drama going on in Facebook and paranormal, and
yeah.
I try not to include myself in that. You know, I mean, I step back and I don't say anything. You know, I post, you know, so many things here and there, but I don't post a lot. I try to post positive thoughts, you know, and this and that, but yeah.
We had a member that left our group and started talking smack, and it really made me mad, but I've never said anything ill about that person at all, even though they said a lot of terrible things about me. And
right.
I don't burn bridges. I don't talk smack about people aside to my wife. I'll tell my wife what's going on and what I think. But that's about it.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
and you'll never see
Right.
me trash anybody. Nobody. It's why put the
Right.
energy into it? You know,
Right.
there are people that they're just all about drama and crap like that. And when I see
That's
drama,
that's
I
their energy
run.
core. That's what they
I,
get their
I'm like,
energy from.
yeah, screw that, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
I know that there's a plethora of different people, even that I'm friends with on Facebook, that have talked massive shit about me. There's people that said they wanted to work with me, and then all of a sudden, oh no, I don't want to work with you. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, okay. A lot of these people don't realize this, and I'll say this on live, that I can read pretty much anyone.
Mhm.
If your intentions are crap,
Mhm.
I'm gonna see it. If you're talking shit about me because you're jealous of this or that, I'm gonna see that, and you're
Yeah.
not gonna be able to hide that. And it's
Mhm.
like, so I mean, I know I could probably make a list on both hands of people that even that I'm friends with that just would rather talk shit, or or be jealous, or spread rumors or do whatever. And it's like, holy
Yeah.
shit, I wouldn't have that much energy. I can barely get out of bed in the morning, let alone try to come up with a scheme like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I've seen it, and
So
that's why I keep my group small, and they're all people I trust, and we're about the hunt, man. We're not about any other group or whatever.
right,
I associate with a
right,
small group and do different
yep.
things.
I keep my
And they're
circle very small.
yeah,
I may
yep,
reach out, and I may, work with a few people here and there, but I
mhm,
don't. I gave up a long time ago of searching for things. If people want to work with me, they can come to me. And I've
mhm,
had a few people come to me. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So um, I'd be as genuine as I can. And that's where
yeah,
it's at. The most genuine person and be authentic, you'll get more results than if you're just trying to spread gossip, and just because you don't like what that person's doing, or whatever. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So I always tell people, be as genuine as you possibly can be, or be better than you were today. Be better tomorrow. You know what I mean?
And build
So
something. Don't tear it
that's
apart.
the way I look at it.
You know,
Right,
build
right.
something.
Yeah, and build somebody up. Don't tear them down.
Right. Absolutely, man. I agree with you
You
100%.
know. So
Mhm.
so yeah, man, we're at an hour. Holy crap,
Yeah,
that was fun.
it goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does, especially when you're laughing and you're having a good time, and
Hell yeah.
you're talking about this and that and everything. And thank God we didn't talk about politics.
I don't do that. It'll never happen.
I don't either.
I I,
Nope,
I
it
do
won't even
vote and
happen with me.
etc. But you won't see me talk
Yeah.
about it amongst friends. Like I said, that's between me and
I'm
my
an
wife,
American,
and
and
that's
that's
it.
it.
Yep.
I'm an American. That's it.
Yep. I got better things to
you
do
know.
with my time
Oh
than
yeah. Fuck.
associate with that crap. You know.
No
I'm all
shit. No
about being
shit.
positive. I really don't even care about your politics. Okay. I no,
Right.
I'm just,
Right.
I
Right.
got mine. I'll keep them to me. And when I go do my thing,
Right.
I'm going to do
Yep.
my
I'm the
thing and
same
you do
way. And
yours.
people. Right. And people ask me, "Well, who'd you vote for?" I'm like, You know what? Only my wife knows. Nobody else knows, because I had that
Yeah.
conversation with her. That's it. I don't talk
Yeah.
about this crap with anybody else.
Yeah.
That stays in the walls and the confines of my home, and it
Right.
stays there.
Just in my
You know,
dojo.
I don't need that.
Yeah.
Right. Just in my dojo.
And it's the same thing with all
Yeah.
this transgender and all this stuff. I don't care.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They, they, I don't go sleep
Don't
with
care.
who you want to sleep with.
Right.
That's fine. I'm gonna
Right.
do my thing.
Right.
Have a nice
Right.
day. Good luck.
I got I got better things than to go out and raise hell because of something that I have nothing to do with.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I just don't. It's like, yeah, that's
So many
that's what you
people,
want to do.
bro,
It's what
are
you want
up
to
in
do.
arms right now and all that crap. And I don't pay attention to it, man.
No.
I'm just floating my own
It's
boat, man.
disturbing. It is. It is very disturbing, and it makes me kind of sad. But did you ever think about what it was like when you were a kid, Man, what would it be like to go back when I was a kid? I had not
Oh.
a care in the world.
I can tell you,
You know
man.
what I mean?
That's something me and my wife talk about almost every day. It's like, do you remember? Like, we'll watch an old movie, right? I can't remember what we were watching the other night.
Yep.
It's like, do you remember when there are no cell phones, no social media?
Yeah.
So great.
How did somebody said? How did you call? How did you like get a hold of somebody? How did you get a ride? How did you? We put 35 cents or whatever, 25 cents in our shoe. You know what I mean? And we would.
I get on my bike and I go to their house.
Right. All right.
You know?
Like for me back then, I would get on my skateboard and skate all the way over their house and uphill.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just simpler times, but
So much better.
now we live in the age of electronics, and
everybody
this
pretty
is the
much got
future.
along,
I mean,
too.
if we actually, right, but if you actually thought about then, like when we were that young, what is going on today, like for electronics and all that stuff, we would say, yeah, that's what's going to happen. They would have thought we were nuts.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They'd be like, no way that's going to happen. Yeah, you're going to be able to talk to people on your phone. You're going to be able to FaceTime people.
I was always into technology. I used to dream of it. And then when it happened,
Right.
I'm like, well,
this kind of
really don't like this, man.
Right.
Damn it.
Right, because you thought it'd be really cool, but then all of a sudden you learned it was a heavy learning curve for a lot of stuff.
Right. It's just like with everything else, dude. It's like there's a little bit of good and a whole lot of bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, damn it.
Why can't we switch that?
Yeah.
Why can't be a little bit of bullshit and a whole lot of good?
But
yeah. So yeah, man, I want to thank you for coming on. This has been a lot of fun.
Dude, I tell you what, I had a really good time and I'm glad we met.
Yeah.
Dude, anytime you need a guest, just let me know, man. I got tons of stories, bro. I can go on and on and on. And, we can, discuss the paranormal, etc. Some more, man.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, this is, I've done so many different interviews over the years that, I've had some really good guests and some guests that I can't replace. And I have also had some guests that were great. Yeah, they were terrific. But really, in hindsight, it was kind of scary. But
I just left a podcast that I was producing, and I was working with a guy that used to be a member of the Misfits. He's the lead singer for a very short time. Great guy.
Right.
I felt bad because I had to leave it just because I wanted to get. I was so like every week putting out a podcast is a lot of work, and you don't know how well it's going to go. Just like you were saying, and it just.
Yeah.
I felt like I was neglecting the things that I was passionate about, and not spending as much time on the things that I love and more on this podcast. And so I felt bad that I had to leave, but I had to do it, man. I don't mind being a guest, but I never want to do a full on podcast ever again. It's a lot of work. It's more work than people think, especially if you want to put out a quality product, So.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's just with me. I I wanted to be able to. The first guy that I had the podcast with, I thought I was going to be his, co-host. When hindsight, he had an ulterior motive to make me be the host, and he wanted me to do everything. And I'm like, okay,
yay, yeah.
So I did. So I learned how to edit. I learned how to produce. I learned how to do all that stuff. And I made mistakes and I had fall on my face moments, but then I also had some really great interviews that I really am proud of, and I learned a lot, and so, yeah, I like to have conversations with people like this just because it's an open air forum. You know what I mean? We talk
Oh
about
yeah,
anything, including paranormal. You
yeah.
know, and
We
I've got,
covered
like I said,
quite a few
I've got
things
the,
tonight
I got the,
in an hour. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I've got that unscripted from reel to reel, which is open. That it's really open, except for
Mhm.
politics. I never will ever
No.
talk about politics.
No.
I will
No.
only talk about the lighter side of life and the things that people are passionate about. And tragic stories do sometimes squeeze in there, but there's
Mhm.
got to be a light at the end of that tunnel. I want get my viewers to go away thinking that was a really good show. You know what I mean? Just like when you want to put your good content out, you want somebody to say, "Hey, I really like that video," or "I like that documentary," or "I like that." You know what I mean? And
What
that it
breaks my
makes
heart
them
is
think.
when they watch it and they don't say anything and they don't like it. Like,
Right.
damn it, right?
Yeah.
But some people
And
just they
that
don't
happens.
do that, you know, and you got to accept
Right,
that,
right.
right? Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like I think that, like YouTube and some of the other things that have these platforms are dying arts. You know what I mean? It's just unless you have a super large following,
Hmm.
you're not going to get much. But that's fine because I'd like to be able to get out what I can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
this one, having you on here talking about everything, it's been a real show, and I know that, and I feel good about this show. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be good. It's going to be automatically uploaded onto YouTube. So when we're done
Mhm.
here, it'll probably be up there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'll
all
definitely
right, man.
share. I'll definitely support you. I'm a subscriber and all that good stuff, man. So, yeah,
Yeah,
got your back.
yeah,
And
yeah. I will send you the link to the show, and there'll probably be some clips from this. I have another show before that I gotta throw up, that I gotta edit and throw up on YouTube. But this one will be up automatically. Um,
Mhm.
there's been episodes where of certain people that I've interviewed that I had to delete it because certain things were said and shouldn't have been said, and I kind of was like, yeah, I need to edit. So this one is live. I don't give a shit what happened on this. To be honest with you, just because it was just a carefree interview,
Yeah,
you know.
that's how I roll,
And
man. Aside from a few cuss words here and there, which I try not to do too much of,
I
I'm
don't
a
give a shit
positive
about
guy,
that.
man.
That doesn't fucking bother me. Fuck no. No. I have to put on there, is it made for children? Fuck no.
No,
It's not. It's not.
this ain't Barney, yo.
You're right. Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, but on that note, I want to thank you for coming on and whatnot. And uh, do you have a YouTube channel or someplace that people can
Yeah,
find some of your
so
stuff?
you can
Or
catch the Paramigos and everything that we do on Instagram. It's Paramigos. It's with two G's, not one. Um, um, on YouTube, we have a YouTube channel. Same thing, Paramigos. When I release this video, it's it's titled "Mysteries of the Southwest," but it's just another entity of the Paramigos that'll be on the Paramigos YouTube page, and I'll be sharing the crap out of it. So it'll be out there
okay,
for you to watch, and if you can support me, I'd be great. I'd appreciate it. I'm not going to
yep,
ask you for any money. I just want you to watch my
right,
stuff and like it if you like it. So
right,
that's all I
right,
ask.
right, right. All right, man. I want to thank you again, and thanks everybody for checking this out. And like I said, it will be up on YouTube. So, having said that,